Okay, good evening. Good evening, class. Welcome back. How are you doing today?
We are fine, Mr. Fofana. We are all fine.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Omar said,
Good,
let
good,
me
good. So,
extend this message. Hello, Mr. Fofana.
yes, Ibrahim.
Omar said, let me extend this message to him. He said his brother is getting married today. So
He
he
said
may
his brother,
attend. Brother is getting married today.
who, Umar Mane, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's all right. No problem. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. Right. Sorry for starting a bit late. Working days are usually crazy, especially this time of, audit and stuff. So, yeah. So yeah, your assignments, those who have submitted so far, I've sent the details on the WhatsApp group, so you can check out for your name. So if you have submitted, your name will be displayed on it. Yeah. So check on the WhatsApp group. The time you submitted, the date, the time, is all there. Okay. So and take note that if you submit lately, I'll definitely know, and then it's gonna be against you. Okay, because if you submit anytime, the time is printed on it and the date and everything. So, um, if you submit lately, well, it's gonna go against you, like I said. Okay, so
Yeah,
today,
Mr. Fofana, sorry.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Afternoon.
Yes, afternoon, Mohammed.
Yeah. For me, I'm yet to submit it because I'm having the laptop I was using. I'm not having that now. So I have Apple now. So I don't understand it that much. And Apple, everything you need to, it's not for free. So I'm not having Google Sheet and other stuffs in it. So that took me a little bit late. But surely, if possible, then if not tomorrow, today night, then hopefully tomorrow, because after class, I want to pass by to one of my friends so that I can use his laptop and then send it.
Actually, Mohammed, you should have done that long since, because this is like almost a week now, and
Yeah, that's
Apple, I'm using Apple at the moment to deliver the class. I'm using Apple, so there is not much difference. It's just a question of you getting familiar to it. So submitting assignments on time is very, very important. So maybe you need to sort that out ASAP. I can give you up to midnight tonight, but not later than that. If it goes beyond midnight, then it's gonna go against you. So please make sure you submit before midnight. Yeah. Okay. So right, we're going to look at the last couple of topics on accounting for decision making, short-term decision making in particular, and those topics will include further processing decision, break-even analysis, relevant cost analysis, and then the last but not the least will be accepting or rejecting orders. Okay, so these are the topics we're going to do, inshallah. And inshallah, we're going to complete it so that tomorrow we can start investment appraisals. Okay? Tomorrow we'll start investment appraisals. And on Saturday, we'll try to complete everything. So on Saturday, it's going to be even longer. So we're going to get ourselves to be prepared for a longer class so that we just, complete everything on Saturday. Okay? So, right, we looked at limited factor decisions last class. Okay, can we recap a bit? Can we recap on that a bit? Limited factor decision. What have we done on limiting factor decisions? Just a bit of recap before we move on. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Fofana.
Yes,
Yes,
Mohammed.
Mr. Fofana.
Yes, go ahead,
Yeah, I
Mohammed.
think we've covered. Yeah, we've covered the extent of the limiting factor. That's the optimal plan, and then you extract the buying per limiting factor,
Okay, in the first
and
place,
then we also went up to make or buy decisions.
Mohammed, can you in the first place, can you tell us what limiting factor decisions are? What are limiting factor decisions?
Yes, one like if the material in question, if there is a scarceness in that or a shortage of a labor, and other things like example maybe if like also if the machine capacity is also limited, something like that, or the like as well as the financing of the project, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. I want something exactly, not something like that, huh?
Oh, okay. Sorry, sir. Yeah, like if I don't like a shortage of, you know, in financing the project itself, the machine capacity is not up to what we wanted. Like example, like the machine capacity is limited, or we have shortage in skilled labor, or and so on. Yeah.
Okay, anyway, that was a good try. Emily Makule, can you tell us what limiting factor decisions are? Emily? Emily, are you with us?
Mr. Fofana, yes, I'm with you guys. I didn't attend the last week class.
And you didn't ask anyone what we have done as well?
No, I want to watch the videos.
You want to watch the videos? You're still waiting. Exams is around the corner there, huh?
Yes, sir.
Abdullah Kurbali. Kurbali. I'm seeing new names today. Abdullah Kurbali. Kurbali, are you with us? Abdullah, are you with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Abdullah, are you at the market or what?
Yes, actually, I'm at the market. I'm on the way going home. I'm just from work.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, can you tell us about limiting factor decisions, please?
Well, I just know there are just factors that are limited to the production.
What?
To the product. Yes.
I didn't
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me?
What did you say?
Yes, I'm saying they are factors. Limiting factors are just factors, that put a barrier to a production of a particular community. Like for instance, if you want to produce a community and there are certain ingredients that
Abdullah, let's leave
you
you. Let's leave you. Let's leave you. Your noise is too much. Your noise is too much. We'll leave you. Okay, right. Who can help? Who can help? Yeah, I know Mohammed, that was a good trial. Yes. Who can help?
Mr. Fofana.
Yes, Ibrahim. Yes, Ibrahim, go ahead.
Yeah, limiting factor. These are factors of production that are limited. Factors of production that are limited, like skills, shortage of skilled laborers, Like if we have laborers that we have a shortage in that area, and so forth, and also scarce in raw materials. So this is what I
Okay.
can understand about limiting factor.
Okay, good. Okay. So just like we discussed last week, limiting factors are factors or stuff that are used in production, okay, like land, labor, materials, capital. They are all factors of production that are used when we want to produce products and services. Okay, so if there is such supply in any of these factors, we see ourselves in a limiting factor situation. And like I said in the previous classes, that when there is scarcity, we should always maximize the best use of products. Okay, so when there is a limiting factor scenario, what management does is it tries to produce products and services optimally. That is, producing products and services that will yield maximum benefit. Okay, that will yield maximum profitability. Okay, so when we are faced with a limiting factor, first we have to look at the existence of a limiting factor or the extent of the limiting factor. So if you say there is limiting factor, you have to first derive that there is a limiting factor. Okay, so how do you do that? You compare what is required in terms of factors of production, what is required in terms of labor hours or machine hours, or what is required in terms of kilogram of materials or liters of materials or any quantity of materials. Okay, so you have to determine that. You compare it to what is available at the moment by the organization. Okay, what is available, and then you try to ascertain the gap. Okay, if the question is a limiting factor question, of course there will always be a gap. Okay, if what is required, okay, if what is required is less than what is available, naturally there will be a gap. There will be a limiting factor. So that's the first thing you need to determine. Then after determining that, you have to calculate your, depending on the nature of the question, if it is a limiting factor that is not mixed with make or buy, then in that case, you have to calculate your contribution per unit. After calculating your contribution per unit, then you find your limiting factor unit and then calculate the contribution per limiting factor. If it is a kilogram of materials, you use contribution per kilogram. If it is labor hours, you use contribution per hour. Okay, and that contribution per limiting factor is what is used to determine optimal production level. Okay, so if you have products that have more contribution per limiting factor, you try to produce those first because they will yield you maximum profitability. So you rank them accordingly, and then you do your production planning according to that. If the question requires you to calculate, to do a profitability statement, then you can calculate your contribution, but that contribution will be based on the contribution per unit. And you deduct the fixed cost, if there's any fixed cost, to arrive at your profitability. But if it is a situation whereby you have to determine, it's a make or buy decision mixed with limiting factor, then in that case, you have to do your calculation and do your optimal production planning based on the product that will be more expensive to buy from an outside supplier. So you produce those first, followed by the least expensive. Okay, so the ones that are going to be cheaper to produce, of course, will be produced in-house. Okay, so that's the way you do your limiting factor. Okay, so I think we can move on to our topic today. We're going to start with further processing decisions. Okay, is that clear? Everybody, shall we move? Any questions regarding what we have done before? Any questions before we move? Okay, so I think we can move. Right.
Mr. Bowman,
Yes, sir.
the further processing note that you have on the screen here, and the one you have printed on the notes is not. They are not the same.
So this is a new topic.
Okay, but we have another further processing under this thing.
Okay, you mean what is here is different? It cannot be the same because the slides are summarized version of the notes. It cannot be the same.
Okay.
So that's why it's important to read both. Slides are usually summarized versions.
Okay, thank you.
Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Right. So so we're going to look at further processing decisions. Okay, if we talk about further processing, what are we talking about? This is a situation whereby you're faced with an option to either sell your product in its work in progress form, or you add value to the product and sell it. That is, further process it to sell it. Okay, this is very, very typical of how to call it, organizations or individuals that produce in third world. Most of our products, we try to sell them at their work in progress level. And as such, we don't get maximum benefits from our products. So many examples. In the Gambia, for example, we produce our woodlock. People go and cut mahogany trees, malina trees, and all sorts of trees. What happens is they will sell it to outsiders. I'm not going to mention any nationality, but there is a particular nationality that sells a lot of our woodlock. Okay, people will kill big trees that have been living for 100 years or even longer than that. Okay, and then produce the log and then just sell it to these guys who will take it to their country, produce plywood and produce all sorts of wood from it, and get great profit from it. Okay, so these are things that are really, really, really big issue in third world countries in Africa, not only Gambia. Okay, look at our peanuts, for example. Our peanuts, farmers toil, to grow their peanuts. Then at the end of the day, the buyers will buy from them, either government or people from Senegal or private buyers. They'll buy their peanuts from them at peanut price. Can you imagine that? They'll buy their peanuts from them at peanut price. Very cheap price. Okay? And they will further process them to make, for example, groundnut oil. Groundnut oil is very, very, very rich in vitamin E, for example. I think, if I'm not mistaken, is second to, sesame seed in terms of content of vitamin E. Okay, so those organizations or companies that buy from them, they can further process them to make millions out of them. Like one example is they can produce oil from it, groundnut oil. They can produce soap from them. They can produce groundnut cakes from them. They can produce even chocolates. Okay, they can even produce chocolates from them. Okay, I looked at one documentary on CNN. I think this is like a couple of months ago. They went to Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is very famous for its cocoa. Okay, they produce a lot of cocoa, and cocoa is used for a lot of things, including Ovaltine, our very nice Ovaltine, our chocolate. If you know chocolate, now there are lots of Socola. Socola is from chocolate. It's all from cocoa beans. You have your chocolate bars. So many things that we can produce from our cocoa. From Ghana has got lots of cocoa, Ivory Coast, and a lot of other African countries. Okay, and they went to Ivory Coast. They went to these cocoa farmers who are very, very, very poor. They produce lots of cocoa, but they sell it to this middleman for very cheap price. So this guy, I think he's a CNN guy, he went with a bar of chocolate, Snickers bar, for example. And he gave it to this guy to taste. I don't know whether you have tried chocolate bar before, especially Snickers bar. It's so lovely. It does not only have Ivory Coast cocoa, but it may have our Gambian peanuts on it as well, because it has got a lot of peanut, especially Snickers bar, M&M. There are lots of chocolate bars that have got some peanuts on them, and of course, all chocolate bars are made from cocoa. So the guy from Africa, the poor farmer, tasted the chocolate and asked the guy from CNN, but this is so sweet. Where does this thing come from? The guy, the journalist working for CNN and stuff, told him that this is from these cocoa beans. Can you imagine that? He couldn't believe. He said, what? Yes. He said, yes, this is from your cocoa beans. He has never seen a chocolate bar in the whole of his life. But in the meantime, he and others are the ones that are supplying the West with those cocoa beans and so on that are used for a lot of other things. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this? How many of you here are, groundnut farmers that have ever eaten a bar of chocolate? Janko, I know Janko, Jandijeta Kundankas have never seen a chocolate bar. Janko, have you seen one before? Janko?
No. No.
Have you seen one before?
No, I haven't seen one.
You see, and I know you are a groundnut farmer.
Of course, yeah.
There you go. It's made from your peanuts. See? So, just to wrap up for the sake of time, it's really, really, really very, very important to add value to your product so that you can get very good price. Very, very important. Listen, Africa, we think we are poor, but we are not poor. We providing raw materials for lots of these Western countries. The raw materials for that. There are so many, like even our mangoes. Around April, May, these guys will come from Senegal and so on and buy our mangoes and sometimes take them to Senegal, and they can even export it to other countries. I remembered when I first went to the UK, I used to work for a supermarket chain called Safeways. I was serving a customer one day who went and bought mangoes. The mangoes is just like I don't know how it's called in English, but in Jara we call it Sararion. Sararion is a very, very sweet mango, just like our Sararion. And there was a sticker on it saying made in Senegal. I said, no, this cannot be made in Senegal. This must come from Gambia. A Senegalese vendor went and bought from Gambia and then exported to UK. Okay, because of our size, we don't usually have people who buy these large quantities of fruits or vegetables and so on and export to the West. I said it. I said this must be. It might be in fact a mango from Jara. Okay, and mangoes in the West are very, very, very expensive because that mango was going for if you convert it into Dalasi, close to $200. Just one mango. Okay, if you convert it into Dalasi. Okay, and the guys who bought that must have bought it from the farmer for less than $10. Can you imagine that? For less than $10. So further processing is very, very, very important. So as accountants, we need to know this and we need to know it very well, especially accountants working in Africa. So these are some of the advices that we should give to the organizations we work for. For example, if you work for a peanut company, before they take a decision to, ship their, peanuts abroad, let them see if they can process it into oil. What they're going to get from the sale of the oil is going to be far, far, far more than what they're going to get if they have to sell the peanuts in that in that raw form. Okay, so further processing decisions are very, very, very important. If we further process our products, we add value to them, and by adding value to them, you are increasing their marketability. You are increasing your revenue base. Okay, so it's really, really, really important. Okay, so I hope we know about this, yeah? Very, very important. Please take note of it. Okay, take note of it. So, what do we do? What do we consider when we have to take further processing decisions? We first look at, if we further process, okay, what extra revenue are we going to generate? Okay, called incremental revenues. Okay, you compare that to, if we further process, what are the additional costs that we have to incur, called incremental costs. Okay, so you compare the two. If, of course, the incremental revenue is higher than the incremental cost, based on financial grounds, you can advise that further processing should take place. And most of the time, the incremental revenue will be higher than the incremental cost. Okay? Please take note of this. It's not about learning this, but we need to apply this. We can even apply this in our own situations. In the Gambia here. Okay? In the Gambia here. For example, I know some of you might be cassava farmers. Okay? If you understand, that reminded me, I do lots of farming. A couple of years ago, I harvested my cassava, and then there was these guys, Senegalese guys, who went and who came and bought the cassava from me. In the middle of the transaction, I nearly stopped them because I was so angry. What they will do is you'll agree that they're going to get the 50 bag, for example, the 50 kilogram bag from you at say 2,000. But in the meantime, what they are getting is not 50 kilogram. They will fill the 50 kilogram bag in such a way that they will add another half. So it's like 75 kilogram bag is what how to call it? They're buying from you at the price of 50 kilogram bag. Can you imagine this? So in the middle of the transaction, I nearly say, come on, I can't go ahead with this. So I thought twice, and then I just agreed. Well, to be honest with you, it's really, really, really important. Really, really important to consider further processing your products. Okay. So assuming that the cassava I sold to those people, assuming I try to, in fact, peel it off, dry it, and make, let's say, how do you call it? Is it fufu? Gari. You can make gari from it. Okay? And what you're going to get from the sale of gari is going to be far, far more than what you're going to get if you sell the, the cassava like that. Okay? Those who live around Budfoot area, in Ghana town, there are lots of good gari there. They make them from cassava. Okay? So lots and lots of things that you could do with your raw things before you decide to buy them in that form. Okay, is this clear? Okay, is this clear? Any contribution or questions before we do an example on it? Are you with me? Hello, are you with me?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Fofana.
Yes. You understand what I'm trying to explain?
Yeah, we understand.
Okay.
We understand.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do example 8. Those of you who have not got your question before you, can you screenshot it before I move to the spreadsheet? Okay. Can you screenshot it before I move? Screenshot it now. Okay. So any questions or contributions before we move?
Yeah, like Mr. Fofana.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Where I want to contribute is pertaining to this particular topic, especially for the processing.
It's 18
Yeah,
hours.
Yes.
I think the issue here is people don't know the technical know-how. They don't know actually what to do, or the product they are producing. They don't know the outcomes of those products. They think that they are merely the same product, like what they know about that product. They will not make any research, to see whether this particular product can give, different varieties or different issues or different products that there are many products that can drive from this product. So it's all about research. So people need to find out any product you are producing, especially cassava, groundnut, or anything. Just go and make your research, and try and find out what are the benefits of this. What can we derive from this in terms of medicines,